Dear students, this is the fourth video of the chapter Socialism in Europe and Russian Revolution. And in this chapter, we are going to discuss the second part, that is the Russian Revolution. So far we discussed about the socialism in Europe. We already discussed that how the idea of socialism became very popular in Europe, but despite its popularity, the socialists could not form the government in any part of Europe. The Europe was still dominated by liberals and radicals, conservatives, and socialists were not getting any chance to form the government in any part of Europe. But situation changed. In the first half of 20th century, the situation reversed, and in some part of Europe, the country got chance to get services of socialists. The first country in which the socialism got chance to took command over the country was the Russia. But it was not very easy task, because like other parts of Europe, in Russia also, the king was ruling. The king was there, Tsar Nicholas II, and he was ruling there. After the 1917, and particularly after the month of October and February, the revolution started against the present regime, and finally people toppled down the government, and socialist government formed thereafter. So this is how the socialist government formed in Russia. In order to understand that what causes revolt in Russia, or what was the reason of the Russian Revolution, we'll have to go in the flashback. We'll have to go to understand that what was the economic situation, what was the pattern of society in the period of Tsar Nicholas II. And after that, we'll be in a position to make you understand that why problem occurred, what was the real cause of problem. Because of that, Russian Revolution started. So for that, we'll have to go in 1914. In 1914, Russian Empire was there, and Russian Empire was very dominating in nature, like other empires of Europe. Tsar Nicholas was there, and you'll see in the diagram that is mentioned in your book, in NCERT book, that what was the total extension of Russian Empire. So it included most of the parts of nearby areas of Russia, like Ukraine. Got it? So here you have to understand that Russian Empire was very vast. It covered almost all the parts, nearby parts. Now we'll have to understand what was the economic structure as well as social pattern, how the society was structured, and what was the economic condition of Russia at that time. We'll have to understand that first of all, society was structured with workers and peasants. So mainly two important groups were there. Workers were there, peasants were there, and third group was also there, craftsmen. So basically, the society was structured with the help of three different groups: workers, craftsmen, and peasants. Now, we are going to understand what was the economic condition. 85% of the population of Russia were engaged in agricultural activity. This was quite large in comparison to other European countries, like in Germany and France. This was almost 50%, but here it was 85%. So the farmers could produce more, and at that time the export of grain was also going on there because of the surplus production, because 85% of the population was engaged in agricultural activity. So you have to understand, this is because the export was there in terms of grain and other agricultural products. Now, apart from the agriculture, one more economic activity was going on there, and that was the industry or industrialization. So let us discuss what was the condition of industrialization there. So here it is mentioned that industries were there, but these were located in pockets only. I mean to say, the industries were there, but these were located in few areas only, like Moscow and St. Petersburg. And in that particular area, the industrial workers were working very hard for the production, and they were expecting minimum working hours, specified salary structure. But as you know that most of the industries were under the command of private bodies, it was not always possible to grant all these things. Factories inspectors were there, but they were not able to oversee whether the rule is being implemented or not in a proper way. So you'll have to understand that industries were there, but industries were not able to fulfill the needs of the workers. Sometimes workers were working for more than 15 hours in factories. And the same condition was there of the another group also, that was the craftsmen. So craftsmen were also working in different crafts unit, and they were also working for a prolonged hour, like 15 or 16 hours. No? So that was the condition of workers as well as craftsmen. Now you have to understand, the workers were also subdivided into various groups on the basis of their skill or training. Like here you can understand, the metal workers were there, and normal workers were there. So two types of workers were there in the factories. So basically, the metal workers consider themselves the aristocrats among the workers because of their nature of training or the skill they acquired, and they were treating other workers in not better way. So inside the factories, the discrimination was going on among the worker class. One worker was considered superior, other workers were considered inferior. And that is why most of the industrial owners were getting the benefit, were getting the advantage of it. So that was the total structure there. Apart from that, you'll have to understand that women were also working there as a worker, but their participation was quite low. 31% workforce, 31% women were there in the total workforce. So the contribution of 31% women were there in the factories, and this was quite less at the time, but somehow they entered the factories and they were working. Now, you have to understand, in terms of peasants also, the conflict was going on. The peasants were also subdivided into various subgroups. And what was peculiar about it, that the peasants were getting the land for cultivation from the nobility, and nobility were very close to the king. So here, the peasants revolted against the nobility because they wanted land directly from the king, not from the nobility. So basically, nobility were the intermediaries, and they were getting the land from the king, and after that they were distributing it to the peasants. And the peasant didn't like it. They asked that we should be given land directly from the king, because the the nobles were intermediaries and they were getting some advantages also. So this is how the society was structured, and this is how the economic condition was going on. And you can see the workers and the craftsmen as well as peasants were not in a very good condition. Thank you.